Okay, so we will discuss DUB, that is dysfunctional uterine bleeding. Now, as I already told you, DUB comes under the umbrella of AUB. Okay, so DUB, that means dysfunctional uterine bleeding. You cannot find any clinically detectable organic pelvic pathology in that. Now it can be broadly divided into two types: DUB due to anovulatory regions and DUB due to ovulatory regions. So in an ovulatory region, it is very clear that the anovulation is there, ovulation is not done, and once you know that ovulation is not done, that means the corpus luteum is not being performed. So the corpus luteum is the source of progesterone. So there is no progesterone and only estrogen is there. So due to this high estrogen, you will have a hyperplasia of endometrium, and because of not availability of progesterone, this endometrium will keep shedding in periodically. Okay, so it doesn't irregularly shed of estrogen, and it is a painful also. So estrogen only thing is there. So puberty menorrhagia is a kind of thing which is an anovulatory DUB, in which what happens, initially when the puberty is there, anovulation is the thing. When the FSH and LH are not secreted from the pituitary on timely manner, there will be anovulatory cycles, and that's why these puberty people have this kind of DUB. Then comes the glandular hyperplasia, glandular cystic hyperplasia. What happens in that? This glands are formed. Okay, glandular epithelium is formed, but the glands are not functional. They are just hyperplastic glands are seen. Okay. And the second type is ovulatory DUB. In ovulatory DUB, you will see that yes, there is a progesterone, but again the progesterone is not sufficient either, or it doesn't come on time. So that's why this kind of DUB also can be seen. So it is ovulatory DUB. Most common DUB is anovulatory DUB, that is 80%. Now what is the management? You know that in ovulatory DUB, what you miss here is a progesterone. So you will give progesterone to that patient. Progesterone is given in the luteal phase from day 12 to day 28. Day 12 to day 28. And once you stop the progesterone, the patient will have a menses. Okay, every cycle you need to give. So progesterone inhibits the estrogen and brings about the atrophy of endometrium. It ripens the endometrium. In young girls who are not very sexually active, cyclical progesterone can be given of 12 to 14 days in luteal phase. And if the patient is sexually active, you can go with the OC pills. This will also provide them the contraception if they need. Ovulatory bleeding, the cause of bleeding is something another. So the treatment of choice are very simple, like NSAIDs. They will decrease the inflammation, because inflammation is the cause of bleeding. Tranexamic acid, OC pills, GnRH agonist. Sometimes some infection can cause this kind of bleeding because of chronic inflammation. What the option we have? We have this kind of simple management. Then comes the endometrial ablation, in which we remove the endometrium along with the basal endometrium. Then after, the patient will not have a menses. So if the patient wants to preserve a uterus but don't want to preserve a menses, then we can go with this endometrial ablation thing. And at the end, if anything is not good and the family cycle is completed, the patient is having a higher risk of endometrial carcinoma and various carcinoma, then we can go directly with the hysterectomy. Now what is a metropathia hemorrhagica? What is metropathia hemorrhagica? in which we see a enlarged uterus. Cystic glandular hyperplasia is seen because of progesterone. There is a long history of exposure to estrogen. So the endometrium becomes Swiss cheese appearance, highly glandular. What the treatment of choice? Progesterone. We give progesterone for some 20 days, even 25 days. So this will just progesteronize the endometrium, and this will bring menses. So this was DUB. Thank you, friends.